Play clock at 5. Pass is in.
I'm living in that 21st century, doing something mean to it. Do it better than anybody you ever seen. Do it, scream from the haters, got a nice ring to it. I guess every superhero need his theme music. No one man should have all that power. The clock's ticking, I just count the hours. Stop tripping, I'm tripping off the power.
That might send the Yankees to the World Series.
Welcome back to Rivalry Sports. Today we'll be talking about the Knicks and Celtics' respective playoff series. In a closeout Game 5 for the Celtics, they won 118-84. Derek White had 25 points, and Sam Hauser contributed with 17 points. The Celtics' defense was really good all night, as it has been all series, except for Game 2, obviously. But it really just seemed like with or without Porzingis, they knew how to close out the Heat. They had their formula. And it was just a lot of threes, and the game was really over by the third quarter.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are much better than the Heat. Showed up the whole series. And, yeah, I mean, none of the games were really close. Obviously, I won Game 2, but besides that, none of the games were even close games. It wasn't really competitive. You guys kind of just were the better team the whole way.
Yeah, good coaching can only take you so far. I mean, Spo's a fantastic coach. Obviously, the zone that he runs for stretches is unstoppable at times. But there's really just no counter that the Heat had to the Celtics personnel. You can't be running Haywood Highsmith in a must-win game and expect to win. I mean, I don't really know what Pat Riley's plan was coming into the season. Obviously, Jimmy was a big part of that, and he didn't play. But you got to be better on both ends, especially offensively. Scoring under 90 points in 4 out of the 5 games just isn't going to cut it in today's NBA.
Yeah. So now moving over to the Knicks vs. Sixers series. After a crazy Game 5, the Knicks finally closed it out in Game 6, 118-115. Jaclin Brunson with another great game, 41 points. Josh Hart, 17 points, 16 rebounds. It was just a great game. I mean, there was runs the whole way. The Knicks went up early. They were up like 14. And then, I mean, the Sixers came back. Buddy Hield was great to end the first half. And, yeah, it was kind of just back and forth the whole way, and the Knicks ended up winning it in a close game.
Yeah, that was a really fun game. Knicks went up by like 20 in the first quarter, and then Buddy Hield got the crowd back into it with a ton of threes. He hadn't played all series, but then as soon as he came in, he was really a spark off the bench. But then going into the fourth quarter, it was really just how all fourth quarters were this series, just a ton of back and forth. Jalen Brunson took over. He's really been phenomenal this series. He's been by far and away your best player, continuous 40-point games, but really just a disappointing end to the season for Philly. Embiid obviously came back. He wasn't 100%. That was quite obvious, but just not a really successful season. Kyle Lowry didn't really do much other than his usual flopping. They have a lot of questions going into the offseason, but not a really great finish to the season.
Yeah. And then moving on to second round series, the Knicks played the Pacers, and in Game 1 they won 127-123. There were some questionable calls at the end. I mean, there's questionable calls every basketball game. Refs always have an impact, even though they're not supposed to. And, I mean, you just got to play through it. It's happened. It went against the Knicks with that Maxey travel. Now it goes for them in Game 1 here. So you just have to keep playing through these things. It doesn't like change the entire game. It might change a little bit, but they didn't lose the game for the Pacers. And Jalen Brunson, I mean, he has been amazing. Another 40-point game. That's 4 straight 40-point games, and that's the longest streak since Michael Jordan. It's the second longest all time behind Jerry West. I mean, he is just playing phenomenal in the playoffs. I don't think I've ever seen anyone play like this in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, we could argue all day about whether it was an illegal screen, whether it was a kickball, but overall, a fantastic game. In the first half, the Pacers really played incredible. They, just kept the ball moving. The ball never sticks with the Pacers. It's just always moving. TJ McConnell had an outstanding game, but in the second half, it was just all Knicks, really, until, the 2-minute mark. Brunson was just going crazy, and then after the 2-minute mark even, he was going crazy. And then, obviously, Mitchell Robinson, right? it was just announced yesterday that he will probably be missing the rest of the season with an ankle injury. How do you feel about this, Luke? How are you going to defend Pacers?
I mean, it sucks. I mean, he's been playing well, but they've been going through injuries all year. There's nothing new. Or without Julius Randle, without Bojan Bogdanovic, all season it's just been next man up. Right now, the next man up is Precious Achiuwa. He's got to play like he was in the middle of the year. He was grabbing 10 rebounds a game. He was playing great basketball. I mean, it sucks to lose a guy as good as Mitchell Robinson, and especially as him playing. He comes in, blocks a couple shots, grabs some offensive rebounds, but it just has to be the next guy up. You can't be an excuse, these injuries. I mean, there's been a lot of injuries, but the next guy has to step up and just keep winning games.
Yeah, I mean, what a pickup for you guys. He was like the throw-in in the Emmanuel Quickley and R.J. Barrett trade, but he's come up big for the Knicks. The one problem I do have if I were a Knicks fan is that when Achiuwa was playing well, he was playing at the 4, and it was Hartenstein and Achiuwa. Now he's going to really have to run the 5 a lot off the bench, but he's still a really good player from what I've seen. He blocks shots. He's a good mobile center. He's 6'9". He was obviously drafted by the Heat, so they really know how to develop guys, but he's really coming to his own as a Knick.
Yeah, I mean, he played a little center, too, in the middle of the year. As we were saying, Robinson was out for most of the season. They know how to play without him. So we'll just see. I mean, he is small. He's an undersized center, which shouldn't affect us that much against the Pacers, I don't think. But if we get later, if we have to play the Celtics, if Porzingis plays, and then if we go further than that, it could affect us.
Yeah.
But playing undersized right now shouldn't be that bad.
Yeah, so moving on to the Celtics series. Celtics won Game 1, 95-120. Derek White, what a phenomenal job against the Cavaliers. I mean, it doesn't matter who you stick on him, whether it's Okoro, whether it's Garland, whether it's Mitchell. It really doesn't matter. He's going to get his shot up. He's going to find a way to impact the game, even if his shot's not falling. But just an incredible job from Derek White.
Yeah, I mean, the Celtics have been the best team in the league all year, showed it in the first round. And now, with a blowout win to start the second round, they're trying to just keep going and keep showing that they're better than every other team.
Yeah, it really didn't seem like they played that well in the first half. Cleveland was really getting their shots up. They were missing open shots, but that's kind of what Cleveland does. They're not the best three-point shooting team. Obviously, they tried to help that out in the offseason when signing Niang and Strus. But they really just need to make their open shots, and that's what me as a Celtics fan, that's my one thing that I'm worried about. Because we're giving them open shots, and obviously Jared Allen's going to come back. They're going to get more offensive rebounds than that. But it really should be a tough series for both teams.
Yeah, I mean, the Celtics should win this one. I mean, they've been better all year. The Cavs obviously banged up a little bit, and just, like, they're just not as good. Like, they haven't been as good all year. So, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, that's going to do it for this week on Rivalry Sports. We'll see you next week.